Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today I would like to say something about Japan. It's our neighbor country, though I never lived there for a long time. However, I think I knew Japan quite well because I have some clients there. So, many people visited Japan and they fell in love with Japan quite quickly. I don't know how many of our audiences visited this country, but I have to say, it has one of the best views on this planet, and you don't have to spend too much money, but you can get the best service. Japanese people are always showing their friendly smile as well as politeness to you. That's why many people will think, hey, let's move to Japan. Whenever I heard that, I would think, you're still too young, because if you change your identity from tourist to resident there, you'll find it's probably from heaven to the hell. So this video, let's discuss something about the problems or phenomena that you can see from Japan society when you live there as a real resident. The first problem of Japan society is they could be quite conservative. When I say conservative, it has nothing to do with sex, relationship, or marriage. Actually, Japanese younger generation, they are willing to date foreigners, and they're also willing to show their personality as well as the whole country. However, if you really want to stay in Japan, you will find many obstacles. For example, I want to start a company in Japan. Then when I submit my application, I have to face endless questions from the government officers. They would ask me all the details about my future plans, and most of the time I need to resubmit many materials to support my ideas. And in Western countries, when government people who are working for the immigration office, when they ask people questions or ask them to resubmit some documents, usually it means that they still expect we can meet their standards and our visas can be approved. However, when you meet Japanese government, you answer the questions and you resubmit many files back and forth for probably 5 or 6 times, you will still find it's quite difficult because at the end, they would not guarantee the visa can be approved. And even if I'm lucky enough and my visa got approved, when I set up my company, I have another difficulty. That is, I have to hire Japanese residents, or I have to hire at least a person with permanent resident, because foreign companies cannot be 100% foreign in Japan. They are quite conservative. They think that if a company that is totally controlled by foreigners, then it's not good for society, because though it's a democratic society, however, the government would like to manage the country in the easiest way or to manage cheaper. That's why if the society is full of foreigners and new immigrants, then their traditional management need to be corrected or need to be rebuilt. The second problem in Japan is the lack of diversity. I already mentioned. When you see the news, you will see Japanese government announced more than once. Japan is a country with single people, unlike US or Canada. They accept or absorb new immigrants quite slowly and quite few. I guess because though Japanese people, when you talk to them, you will find they're always smiling and they're always polite and friendly to you. However, under their skin, they think Japanese people are the best and Japanese products are the best. It's not a very ridiculous conclusion, because when you see Japanese people are at work, they check almost all the steps very carefully. They're probably the most careful people on this planet. And also because they always pay attention to the details, that's why when you buy Japanese products, they're really the top when it comes to the quality. So Japanese people will think their products are the best, and they do not accept foreign products or foreign immigrants that easily, because the country is already the best for them. So imagine if you want to bring your products to Japanese people and you want people to buy your products, it takes really long time. So yeah, if you want to survive there, then you will have obstacles because there are huge cultural gaps between your country and Japan. Also, you can compare the personalities of Japanese people and Western people. Japan learned a lot from Western countries after the Second World War. However, when you compare to the vibes and the personalities, you will find there are still huge differences between these two sides. The third problem is the permanent resident. Unlike other countries, in most of the countries, you will get your permanent resident first, then you get your nationality. This is the normal order. However, in Japan, that's the opposite. I'm not sure about the policy now, but at least at the end of 2025, it takes 5 years for you to join the Japanese nationality, but it takes 10 years for you to get the permanent residence. Yes, this is the most bizarre part about Japanese society because it takes much longer, almost double the time, if you want to get the permanent resident compared to getting the nationality. And mostly importantly, if a person joined Japanese nationality, it means that he needs to give up all the previous nationalities before the deadline comes, or the Japanese nationality will be canceled after the deadline. So here is the rule from Japanese government. If you really want to show you want to stay in Japan, then you have to show the government you are faithful enough. You can give up all the things you have in the past and just stay here. So it needs bravery, and also it needs to be thought twice. This is the reason why usually after 5 years, many people are hesitating, because if they joined Japanese society, nationality, it means that the previous passports will need to be canceled. So when you apply for permanent residence or Japanese nationality, you need to submit your materials, and you also need to book an interview time. The Japanese immigration officer will talk to you. They could ask you all the questions about Japan and also your future plans. There are no standard answers. It's just like finding a job. When you talk to the boss or the HR, they will not let you know what kind of questions they are asking. But for Japan government, actually the standards or the boundaries are quite unclear, because they could ask you anything and you cannot find a perfect demonstration answer or the standard answers. But at least I can tell, if you want to talk to them and make them satisfied to offer you PR or nationality, your language skills need to be native-like. Speaking of the language, here is the fourth problem of Japan. Japanese is a really difficult language to learn. First, the rules of grammar or the rules of the vocabulary, you can say it's really irregular. So you cannot find many standards or rules. That's why you need to have very good memory to recite all of the things. And even if for us Chinese, though we can recognize all the characters quite quickly, but this is probably the only advantage we have. When it comes to other skills, I guess all the people are the same, because Japanese is a really isolated language. It has almost zero connections with other languages. That means no matter how many languages you learned in the past, if you want to learn Japanese, you start everything from zero. Yes, I agree that if you have really good language skills and you can speak like a real native Japanese people, yeah, it can help you to find jobs and can also help you with your social networking. However, because the world order is changing today, and also the economy is suffering from downturn, also because of the aging society, there are so many old people. Apart from Osaka and Tokyo, these big cities, in smaller cities you can only see old people. So is Japan really worth fighting? You really have to think twice. And also, like the thing I just mentioned, it's not a very diverse society. Japan is a country with single people. That's why for most of the Japanese companies, you will find the key management or the key executive people are all Japanese. Actually, I did some easy research for almost all the companies you have heard of, like Panasonic, Sony, Toshiba, Mitsubishi. So start from the level of senior director or the position above. When you check the name list, you will only see Japanese names. So companies are not welcoming foreigners that much. Even if big companies, they are not that willing to sponsor you visas compare it with in the past. The last problem, last but not least, when you work in Japan companies, you will find the vibe could be quite stressful. So most of the foreigners will ask for work and balance. However, this could be quite shameful in Japan. In Japan, a worker is not only making money to make his life better. However, his role is more like he is shouldering the social responsibility. That's why overworking is quite normal and it happens almost every day, but you cannot complain because the boss or the company already pays you. That's why you need to hide all your emotions, your complaints, as well as your desire. You're not a human being, you're a machine for that company. So many people would think that you are leaving one company for a better opportunity. This is also quite acceptable. For example, today you are working for Google, but tomorrow Meta is offering you a higher position or better salary. You can just quit Google and join Meta. No, in Japan, you will be discriminated because as long as you are not making huge mistakes in the company, the boss can just hire you forever. If you're jumping between different companies or different industries, people will think that you are being insincere. Stability is the most important thing, which is more important compared to your experience and your working skills. So in Japan, you need to stay in a place and stay there forever till the day you die. If you want to move to another place, then people will think you are a bad person because you just let your desire conquer your heart. So till here, maybe many of you will ask, if the society is so stressful and people is having pressure almost all the time, then how can Japanese people still be nice to foreigners? Here is my understanding. If you see a country's immigration policy, if the policy is friendly, I don't think people will be friendly to expats. But if the policy is not friendly and almost impossible for you to move to another country permanently, then you'll find people there friendly. It was because if foreigners are not entering that country and settle down that easily, it means that most of the foreigners in that country, they're just here to purchase things. They're just the tourists. They will not take the resources or opportunities away from local people. That's why local people will welcome you. However, if the country is opening its door widely to all the foreigners and almost everybody can visit here without a visa and almost everyone can settle down quite quickly, then local people will be careful with them because they're here to steal the resources. So Japanese people, they're nice to you because they're confident that all the resources are still controlled by them. Okay, I hope you guys understood what I talked about. It's quite a lot, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you in a few weeks.